Well, hello, good morning. It is a wedding day, but not necessarily going to the wedding. I'm actually going to watch the entire wedding and try to get a feel for the edit that I have to do. It is Saturday, so it seems appropriate to do one. I'm still working on Saturdays right now. I have a fresh edit to work on. So I have all the files that I need. It's all organized by every single element. The ceremony's been synced, the speeches, reception, everything is ready. It's all organized. So now, all I have to do is just watch through it, pick out my storyline, and then start adding the B-roll and different elements. Let's get to it. This is a really long ceremony, so I'm just kind of taking a real quick break. It's you really have to watch the whole wedding because you want to make sure that you pick the best portion. That's the benefit of going to a wedding. As I'm at the wedding, I can actually, I'm making notes in my head and I already know, alright, there's 5 or 6 elements that I want to use. But when you're not at the wedding and you're just delivered a package, it's important to it is important to watch the whole wedding. I've always felt I take notes as I watch the wedding, and I try to pick out maybe 1 or 2 elements from each of the particular points from the day. The first thing that I watch when I actually go through a wedding is I actually watch the entrances at the reception, because that way it gives me a good cast of characters, so I know who the father, I know who the best man is, I know who the maid of honor is, I know who the different people are if it's brought out. And then you watch the speeches, because the speeches really give you the story. And then once you're done with that, then go back and you watch the ceremony. Because most people that go to the wedding, they know who these people are. So they know for the most part the backstory. But as an editor, you don't really know that. So you really have to go and watch. You got to get all that information first. And then when you watch the ceremony, it's just so much more meaningful, because now you have a better idea of who they are, and it makes for a better backstory. Now sometimes the officiant will kind of give a little backstory as well, but when you hear it from the friends and family and you kind of get an idea who everybody is, I've always found for me that works the best. So, but alright, second half of the ceremony. Let's go. Alright, so I'm making really good progress so far. I've cut through the reception, the speeches, I've cut through the ceremony, anything that's really meaningful. I've put out all the elements that I like from those individual pieces, and now I'm starting to lace my storyline throughout my sequence. So now my storyline is all set, and the one thing that really helped me is this perspective that if you go back through, if you edit wedding videos, if you go back through, let's say your last 5, and you look at how many clips you've actually used in the finished product, you'll find that usually 80 to 120 clips. So my average is usually about 110. So if you take each individual element of the wedding, from first look, bridal prep, groom prep, speeches, ceremony, cake, whatever it may be, reception, first look, makeup. If you look at all those individual elements of a wedding, now you're looking at maybe 8 to 12 different elements individually, and then you divide that between the amount of clips you use, so anywhere from 75 to 120. Now you have about maybe 8 to 12 clips that you need from each individual element of the wedding. It's helpful as an editor because now I can say I only need that many good clips from that particular wedding, and then I can move on. And then I can move on. So I just take my 10 to 12 best clips that I have from that particular element, and that way you're not figuring, you're not fighting, well, which one do I like the best? Well, if it doesn't meet my top 10, then I'm going to move on to the next part of the wedding. And now you have, even for maybe videographers out there, or especially like when we do weddings, is you can actually put together a shot list. Photographers use it. They say we need these particular shots, and then they move on. And then it allows you to get what you need, and then you can actually, then you get your playtime. Then you get to actually work with what you want, and you can get the creative. But you've got everything you need already. So now if you figure, okay, bridal prep, I need 10 to 15 good shots. For groom prep, I need 10 to 15 good shots. And that doesn't mean that you don't film everything. That just means if you're there, you can remember those. But if you can mentally think, okay, I need 10 moments. Give me 10 moments from each individual element. And now what you do is it just makes it much easier. So now instead of trying to say, well, I have 20 hours of footage or 10 hours of footage, I just need 10 good shots from each element. And then on top of that, out of that 120, is you're going to have the speeches. So that makes it even, that's why I say top 10. Top 10 from each section. And then, so that's what's helped me really go faster. And it helped me have to not, helped me with trimming the fat a little bit better. So I can trim the fat of the storyline and just focus on the story element first and foremost. And then at that point, I can start to add the B-roll. The story is king, so focus on that. Alright, so I just finished dropping in the very last speech. So the entire storyline is all set. Now I'm going to place down the music, pace out the music, and then I'm going to go through and actually start dropping in all the supporting footage, the B-roll, according to the specific story plot line. So I'm almost there, almost done, and then I can send off the wedding. The reason why I turned the camera back on is because I am going to take a real quick break, but also in addition to this vlog, I'm going to start daily blogging. So not on my website yet, so that's not done yet, but I'm going to start posting my daily blog on LinkedIn every single day. I'm going to have a specific post. So I'm going to start taking what I learn every day, because I learn something new every day, and I consume a lot of educational content. So I'm going to repurpose that and apply it to what I need to do, or just thought patterns, or just thought processes that are going on, that I can keep my creative mind and keep myself writing every single day. So that's what I'm going to do. So I got the daily vlog, I've got the daily blog. Now I'm going to work towards my website, and then in addition to that, I'm at some point going to start podcasting. So I'm going to have my articles, my blogs, my vlog, and my podcast. Podcast will come out in the next couple of months, maybe sooner, depending on how things go. But just keeping myself busy, focusing on the work that's at hand, and making sure that everything gets out. Even though I'm doing this within the constraints of the specific time parameters for when I work. So when I set aside time to work, I make sure I get all of that done. So I'm not actually adding anything to my life. I'm actually just producing within the scheduled time that I have for my video production company. So the 4 days that I can work on my video production company, that's when I'm going to do all of this. I'm not adding, I'm just making the best use of the time that I have, so that when I do get really, really busy, those things will already be automatic. I'll be used to doing it, and I'll be scheduled to do it. So then I can take on newer projects. So I'd rather get that squared away now instead of having to get used to it later. All right, time to get back.